uncovering the mysteries in Poppy Playtime Chapter 3, and to start, we have to watch the first tape. You can't miss this one. It's near the beginning of the game in this area where someone has clearly been living. It's right on the floor in front of the TV. So when I was in the game, I thought this mom was talking about her daughter, but if we go outside of the game, we get a much better understanding of what this tape is talking about. This website was teased in the second trailer for Chapter 3. It's part of an ARG, or augmented reality game. It's basically a way for creators to give us more of the story behind the game. As you can see, this site is shut down, but before this latest chapter was released, you could find all kinds of juicy pieces of lore, and one of those was an incident report. Here we find out that Claire Harper, the same Miss Harper on the tape, is a counselor and Marie is a child in her care, not her daughter. And we know from the other sources that Marie Payne would later become the antagonist from Chapter 2, Mommy Longlegs. And unfortunately, we killed her. But before we get back to the tapes, did you know they added a secret water ride in Chapter 3? I had no idea until now. As I first made my way through Playcare, I saw these rubber ducks, and I wanted to take a ride on them so bad because they look so cute. Well, YouTube creator Rizaldo was actually able to find a working ride of these rubber ducks. My theory is that the developers probably had to close off this portion of the game because they weren't able to finish it in time. This is crazy. I went down here and I didn't see this. Where was it? Was it behind one of the doors? Wait, what? The only way to get in here is to no-clip through the wall, and then you will find the secret rubber ducky ride. The craziest thing about it is that it actually works. You can pull the lever, and the gate comes down, and you can ride on the rubber duck. It's a terrifying ride, but it's so cool that this is actually in the game. Oh, look at this, dude. Like this video if you think this should have been in the game. I don't know why they decided not to include it. All right, that's enough ducking around. It's time to get back to these tapes. The second tape tells you how to use the Grab Pack 2.0, and you'll find it after you first arrive at Playcare. It's basically an infomercial on the Grab Pack 2.0. Tape 3 is on one of the beds after you enter the house. The video starts as a welcome for new employees, but at some point it turns into a warning for anyone coming back to the place many years later.
Should you come back years later, your conscience finally getting the better of you, may you descend into the dark and the dust, finding all that awaits you are incomprehensible horrors, each hungry for your return, each eager that they might find you. Perhaps they'd smile at you from a shadow, their smiling mouths full of teeth and meat and plastic. Welcome home.
It's like the tape is talking directly to us players. And when you try to look anywhere else in the game, you are forced to look at the TV. We all know now that this was some kind of hallucination. My theory is that this is the same hallucination Marie was going through in the incident report we found in tape 1. While we were under the influence of the red gas in the house, you might have heard this radio broadcast. This came from a radio with the words, "Guilt haunts you," scratched into the floor near it. When you reverse the radio broadcast audio, we hear this message.
1995. I find your presence intrusive. For all this time you return. You come in here and you kill and murder. You pillage and destroy. Your presence was demanded 10 years ago and you didn't show up. 8/8/1995. You were supposed to be here. Why weren't you here? You missed the event. You missed the meeting. You missed the party. You have no right to be here.
It sounds like someone isn't happy with us and maybe holds us responsible for not being at Playcode during the hours of joy. And notice how the voice on the radio starts to change toward the end. And you gotta stick around to the end of the video if you want to hear my theory on this. Tape 4 is also in the house and it contains a ton of information about the children who lived at Playcare.
What are you doing out of bed? How did you get in here?
Is Kevin sick? Why did you take him away?
Yes, Kevin is very sick.
Do you really think he will be okay?
I should think so. We're good at what we do, son.
So Joseph wants to know what's happened to his friend Kevin. We know that he's probably one of the creatures we've come up against so far. Or maybe Kevin will show up in Poppy Playtime Chapter 4. Besides the radio broadcast and the tapes, we get a secret room. Inside, Kissy Missy is sitting and staring at a picture. I said it in my playthrough, but I think that this little girl in the photo is Missy as a child. before she got put into the missing body, but we don't know her name just yet, so if you have any ideas, please let me know in the comments. I've been trying to figure this out. Sadly, tape 5 is the only one I missed in my playthrough, but thankfully, Fox Play found it. Shout out to him on YouTube. The tape is inside this glass case, which is probably why I missed it. I wasn't gonna take my sweet time during my playthrough to open up all these glass cases. Oh, this is terrifying.
Never missed this. Who's going away?
Oh my gosh.
This week, Dr. White here has selected our very own Samuel Lee.
Oh no, is Samuel Lee one of the creatures?
Now, before he goes, let's all give Sam one last goodbye, shall we?
Do you know what they're saying right now? They're telling the kids to say goodbye to Samuel because he's about to be turned into a creature and never will come back the same again.
1,
That's terrifying.
2, 3. Goodbye, Sam.
This is so sad. The kids have no idea what they're cheering for. These evil doctors are lying to the kids saying that Samuel's getting adopted, but he's actually being experimented on and probably turned into one of the terrifying monsters. Okay, so here we get the names Dr. White and Samuel Lee, but there's no mention of these names anywhere else in the game. So we don't know exactly how this fits in, but I'm guessing Sam didn't leave play care by getting adopted. Also, the female voice on the tape sounds just like a teacher. So I'm thinking that that's Miss Delight who's talking, who got turned into this creature. Speaking of Miss Delight, it's time for tape 6. When we first enter the school, and it might seem a bit confusing at first.
Please, where are the children? Are they in the same place as the employees?
No.
Are the children safe?
Yes.
Ah. Can I see them?
No.
And that was it. That's all he'd tell me. Probably because he knew I'd kill them all.
Clearly, Miss Delight has her issues, but to really understand these tapes, you have to find the different notes she left around the school. Thankfully, we found every single one for you, and here's what each of them say. Just a few weeks ago now was the hour of joy. Today, there is only silence in this school. I don't think any of us here know what to do with it. The hallways without the children carry even the smallest sounds as if they were shouts. The other teachers and I startle each other constantly. We'll have to get used to it. Something locked the front door this morning. We haven't been able to open it. I heard a knock at the door today. I heard it breathing. Whatever it was, it wouldn't speak when called out to. I spent hours after it went silent wondering if this was what locked us in here. I've made a weapon of sorts. Pencils and rollers and taped and twine. I've taken to calling it Barb. It's crude, but if that door opens, I need to be ready. No food for days. The others argued with me over what was left. They started glaring, judging. They blocked the kitchen doorway with their bodies. I think they've singled me out to die first. The pit in me howls for food. I can't think about anything other than how hungry I am. Hardly have the strength now to pick myself off the floor. Barb speaks to me though. She gives me strength. I found that if I stand still, completely still, everyone thinks I'm dead. Barb says I need to eat and that the other teachers would never see me coming. Anything to stop the howling. I'm so sorry. I had to eat. I had to survive. I ate them. I had to. Miss Delight ate the other teachers. That's freaking crazy. So yeah, Catnap definitely had a good reason to lock her in the school so she couldn't hurt anybody else. Dealing with her was super creepy, and when I helped my wife Bree try to defeat her, it got even creepier. Did I glitch her?
Oh, what?
This might seem like a glitch, but later in the game, when we watch the Hour of Joy tape, we see a whole bunch of Miss Delights. What if this isn't a glitch, but instead one of the clones she sent out to attack us? Tape 7 is my favorite because it's the color orange, and I found it on the walkway when we first entered the cavern area behind everything. The title is Stuart and Rich. Rich was introduced to us back in Chapter 2, where he got demoted and had to work with Sir Poops a lot. I'm serious. That's his name. I was checking out the wiki entry for Rich. I noticed that he's voiced by Michael Kovacs, the voice of Jax from the Amazing Digital Circus. Anyway, it sounds like Richie Boy is doing a lot better now, and he's being offered a promotion. But I don't know. This guy offering it to him sounds really sus.
Stupid clunky elevator.
What was that, Richie?
Nothing. Let's just get this shipment dropped and go. Hello, my name is Elliot Ludwig. Would you look around?
I take it you're not a fan of this place, are you?
Nope. Never liked the feel of it. I mean, don't you think these kids deserve some real sunlight instead of floodlights and painted skies? Hell, we're not even allowed to talk to these kids. Isn't that...
Sorry? That doesn't sound like the Rich I know.
Well, I'm trying to stop being so pissed off all the time. My wife says I'm a lovely man, but I gotta control my temper. So, I'm doing it for her.
Our first ever lifetime deal on firemerch.com. Using code FIREDEAL, this t-shirt and this crossbody bag will be 20% off for the rest of their life if you just use this code at firemerch.com. I'm proud to announce that Noob is back in stock, not by the hundreds, but by the thousands. We literally could not keep him on the shelf. In fact, I think he's more popular on the channel than me. Go to firemerch.com and pick up your Noob. He's now also got a tan. February's coming in with some flame. We got 3 brand new products. I'm wearing one of them right now. We also have the Fireheart t-shirt and the Fire Merch joggers. If you haven't got those, you need to go scoop them up. They're fire.
You're just different, Rich. Honest to a fault. But I always liked that about you.
Yeah? Well, you're one of the few.
You know, Richie, with my retirement coming up, they've been pushing hard for me to choose my replacement. I'm thinking about giving the role to you.
What, really?
Really? Nothing official yet. But I think there's a decent guy beneath all that graft. An honest, hard-working man. You prove me right. I said your chances are pretty good.
Wow. Geez, I don't know what to say. I'm just glad to see not everyone in this place has it out for me.
Not everybody, Rich. Not everybody.
Okay, tell me what you think in the comments. How is Rich going to be doing in Chapter 4? And is he going to be wearing some of those VR headsets? Tape 8 is all about catnap. And before we watch it, I wanted to show you these creepy shrines you can find in the caverns. These are terrifying. If this doesn't give you goosebumps, I don't know what else will. This is freaking terrifying. Look at this. It's like PJ Pug a pillar with a skeleton in his mouth. Ah, dude, this thing is... Okay, that's enough. A similar shrine was in the teaser trailer for Chapter 3, and it looks like Catnap has made this for the prototype. And to understand this, we have to go to the next tape. Tape 8 is in the playhouse right after you fight all those critters with the flare gun. It's under this tent.
Okay, this is Catnap, experiment number 1188. What's his real name again? Ah, okay. Hey, Theo. How you doing, bud? Normally I'd have Dr. Sawyer do this, but he's, out, let's say. So you got me until they find his replacement. First off, congrats. This is officially your 4th year in your new body, and you've made some real progress, pal. I was told that when you and the other smiling critters, you know, Dog Day, Picky Piggy, yada yada yada, were added into play care, that you weren't really getting along too well with the kids like everybody else was. But look at you now. The kids love you, and that bred smoke. I mean, that's fantastic, isn't it? Is his, voice thingy still broken?
Prototype will save us.
Theo, nobody's gonna save you. This prison is where you belong. We'll let you out here and there to go see the kids in play care, but your home is here. And as for the prototype, his home is in the labs. This is your life now. Get used
That
to
voice is probably Leif Pierre, the head of innovation at Playtime Co. On the tape, he calls Catnap Theo. This is referring to Theodore Graham Bell. We got more info on Theo from the ARG I mentioned earlier, but since it's no longer available, I'll let MatPat explain.
Literally, as I'm writing this episode, we got another load of images from the ARG, and one of them is a drawing of Theodore sitting on his bed with a familiar black arm reaching out from under it. The prototype is using Theodore to try and stop the entire operation, to free the kids. But sadly, Theodore doesn't work out quite as intended. According to a transcript, he tried to escape, but something malfunctioned and he got electrocuted, stopping his heart and badly burning him. Fortunately, and unfortunately, there's a way to save him. At the same time all this was going on, Playtime was developing experiment 1188, based on one of their newest toy lines, the Smiling Critters, specifically the purple cat, Catnap. This experiment would have massive claws, be able to change its size, and be fitted with, quote, a gas delivery apparatus at the back of the esophagus. This toy was going to be the perfect way to administer the Poppy gas to the kids at the play care. They'd just hug and play with their new favorite toy while it slowly released its hallucinogenic gas. And right at the bottom of the document, on the name of potential candidates for conversion, who do we find? None other than Theodore. He had a horrible accident, maybe even close to death, so they gave him eternal life by turning him into the new villain for Chapter 3.
Tape 9 is in Stella Greybear's office. He was the head of play care, which is where we spend most of our time in Chapter 3.
Oh, Mr. and Mrs. Hartman. Come on in. Please, have a seat. How was your ride down?
It was, nothing like we were expecting. Mr. Ludwig's speech was, well, it just confirms for us that you're the orphanage we want to go through.
It's a truly magical place. I felt right at home from the second I entered. You open that door the first time and you just know you're never going to leave. Kind of like finding a home as a child and always thinking of it when you want to feel comforted. I understand you want to give Jeremy that home? Yes, and we would like to adopt. Amazing. You'll be perfect for... Oh. What? Well, it appears there's been some complications. Complications? What kind of complications? I don't know. The form says testing. What does that mean? Tell us, what does that mean?
Miss Graber, we deserve a better explanation than that. Don't you think?
You're in charge of all this! How could you not know?
And why are we only finding out about this now?
I don't. I'm sorry.
It sounds like to me, Jeremy is not getting adopted. It's just never a good thing when your file says testing at Playtime Co. Tape 10 is one of the most annoying, but it sets us up for the most crucial moment that has been teased ever since Chapter 1, the Hour of Joy. You can find the tape on a desk between a lamp and potted plant. It's an emergency alert for the Hour of Joy, which is on the latest video Poppy shows us at the end of the chapter. The Hour of Joy tape is one that Poppy plays automatically at the end of the game.
We called it the Hour of Joy.
Okay, well, that does not sound like the Hour of Joy. Finally, dude, tell me we get to know the secrets. Oh my gosh, look. It looks normal. And the Hour of Joy tape might be the last one we see in the game, but it's not the most important. Tape 11 is the last secret tape, and it may even have some hints as to what we can see in Chapter 4. You can easily find it next to this column after you escape the mutated catnap in the elevator.
Log code 24459. In relation, experiment 1006. The prototype. Stubborn as he is, and always silent with each passing session, I'm still uncovering fresh data nonetheless. Today's discovery... End of log.
Ready to talk now, are you? I possess
a question.
Go ahead.
Do you feel anything?
This question referred to what exactly?
You stick us, beat us, tear at flesh. Do you feel it?
There's a secret inside you, 1006. Valuable beyond all measure. I cut and prod and burn at it. And I get closer with each session. So speak. Or don't. Fight. Or give in. Regardless, I learn something new about you every day. It excites me. Thank you. You thank me? Absolutely. I learned something.
Notice how he's talking. He's using multiple voices, just like the end of the reverse radio broadcast we first heard in the house. At first, I thought this was because he was made of different toys, but thanks to Mommy Longlegs, she tells us that he made others a part of him.
It'll make me part of him.
That's freaking terrifying. But at the end of the tape, the prototype starts speaking just like the doctor who was evaluating him.
Absolutely.
That means the prototype can mimic anyone, not just the people that he has consumed. Which makes you think, what happened to Miss Delight? We crushed her in the door, but if you go back, you don't find her body. Maybe the prototype snagged her like he did Huggy and Mommy Longlegs, and like he takes Catnap at the end of Chapter 3. Speaking of Catnap, I noticed how the red gas appeared every time right before Catnap appeared. This gas is making us hallucinate. So how do we know that anything from Chapter 3 even actually happened? Game Theory has this really cool, well, theory that the gas is made from poppy flowers because they are red and cause you to hallucinate. A condition that can develop from overexposure to this substance, which is basically not having oxygen in your body. This can cause convulsions and your skin to turn blue and cold, just like Marie in the incident report from Tape 1. But even though seeing Huggy was a nightmare hallucination fueled by this gas, could he still be alive? He did smack his bean a couple of times on the way down in Chapter 1, but we also saw a vent in Chapter 2 that seemed to imply that he survived. Is that his blood on the wall? Because this looks like his blood on the wall. But in Chapter 3, Poppy clearly says, "We killed Huggy Wuggy."
You killed Huggy. You killed Mommy.
But maybe she doesn't know. What do you think? Is Huggy Wuggy coming back in Chapter 4? All the evidence seems to point to him dying and probably becoming part of the prototype. The blood on this vent is probably just from when the prototype scooped him up to take him away, just like he did with Mommy Longlegs. We're also left with the mystery of what happened to the other two toys, Dog Day and Kissy Missy. We saw these terrifying goblins crawl up into Dog Day so he could chase us around one last time. And when the elevator starts to go down with you and Poppy at the end, you can hear that same sound just before Missy starts screaming. My theory is that the critters are attacking and eating them. These munchkins already did some munching on Dog Day, but if we go back to Picky Pick Sign, we can hear what it says on the menu.
Beef, delicious.
Yeah?
Grilled chicken, down the hatch.
I love grilled chicken.
Stewed elephant, yum.
No.
Played unicorn,
No. So yeah, pretty much evidence that the critters are cannibals. And speaking of Poppy, who is she? We found her in a case at the beginning of Chapter 2. We haven't had a lot of clues as to who she is. She could be the adopted daughter of Elliot Ludwig. But what if she actually used to be an employee of Playtime Co? We do know one employee who seemed really excited about becoming a kid forever. She's even more excited about it from her tape in Chapter 1.
It was such a great feeling. And being able to work at a toy factory, somewhere that can provide kids with that same experience, that's a pretty great feeling too. Sometimes, though, I really wish I could go back. To being a kid, I mean.
No way that Poppy isn't Mrs. Graber. And if you notice, Poppy and the others keep saying that they know who we are. So who are we? Why does everybody know who we are except for us, the player? It seems like most of the characters know who we are. And if Poppy was an employee, she had to have someone help her put herself inside the doll. Maybe she's helping us out because we helped her out. And after looking on the wiki, there's one person that would be able to do this. Dr. Sawyer.
My name is Harley Sawyer. I'm called the Doctor. When I look at this company
he has a beautiful voice like Morgan Freeman. His voice is as smooth as Morgan Freeman's. And Dog Day mentions that Poppy sees us, the player, as her angel.
Steve, not here. Bird catnaps home angel. They're home.
This doctor created the Bigger Bodies Initiative, which was his plan to replace the human workforce with these big, indestructible toy monsters. What if that's us on the last tape talking to the prototype? Maybe we came back to stop all this insanity. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. There's too many theories, man.
Game theory.
And the very last question I had since I started chapter 3, who is Ollie? He helps us a lot and keeps calling us on that dang phone. He seems to know where we are at all times. Is he watching us from a camera room? But why doesn't he come out to help us in person? Hear me out. I think that Ollie could be the prototype. Remember from the last tape we heard the prototype using other voices? What if Ollie is the prototype and he's tricking us? And Poppy just has no idea that prototype is able to use this voice mimicking ability, and she's also being tricked. And Poppy says something important near the end of the game that might give us a hint to where things will go in chapter 4.
Catnap's gone. The red smoke is diverted.
So if Catnap is the final obstacle, this means that there's only one big bad villain left to defeat, the prototype. And if he's able to make other toys a part of him, we're going to have the biggest boss fight ever in chapter 4. And if you're hungry for more, click here to watch me play Poppy Playtime Chapter 3, and then click here to watch me play Poppy Playtime Chapter 2.